Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel, and if you're new here, thanks for joining me. I'm Katie and it's UPCRATE. So I've got a little confession to make. This arrived on the same day as the scrawler box, but I wanted to do the scrawler box one first. So just to let it digest with you guys really. So as we can see, it is a pen based box this month. I get the feeling there's been like a pen theme for all of these. The featured artist this month is called Boxer Design, and it's a very cool illustration with a bit of a doodly style to it. So let's get on to swatching. Now we have a mechanical pencil with a HB lead. We have two Sharpies, one fine and one extra fine. We have this strange red marker pen which I'm doing now. We have two liner pens, one at a 0.5 and one at a 0.7, and then we also have these interesting pens which are water soluble, and they are the Artline Supreme brush marker. Now I know I'm being a bit... oh yeah, and we've got a yellow Sharpie as well, forgot to mention that, and a pencil case. The paper it's on, or the paper included, I'm assuming it's marker paper, but I couldn't decide which side was the right one to draw on, and I do believe the illustration I do is all on the wrong side of the paper, but I'll talk about that a little bit more when I get into it. Now I know I'm being a little bit vague with what we have here, and that's because UPCRATE forgot to put in the letter that I get every month, but I did contact them and they did say they would send it out and that will have the UPCRATE battle prompt. So I had to improvise a little bit here, but that's okay, we like a bit of improvisation here, right? So a little bit like the scrawler box, I decided to base this month's challenge on the illustration, and I kind of had to guess, and I did try and find out what the prompt was from UPCRATE, but they were keeping quiet about it, and that's fair enough. That's fair enough. We don't want these things leaked. That's responsible of them. So I went with a bit of an extraterrestrial theme, and I've done a character and she's got space buns, she's got a little flying saucer hovering over her, and I thought because it'd be quite funny, I'd add a cow on to her top that she's wearing, because usually you see flying saucers taking away cows. Well, apparently I haven't seen that, so I can't confirm it. Anyway, I used the red chisel tip marker to colour in the shirt, and the colour laydown was really nice actually, but I so used the wrong side of the paper. It was marker paper, but because I didn't have any details on this, I kind of went off that pen and it just bled through on the shiny side, but it actually didn't come through, and I swapped it over to the rough side and it didn't look like it was bleeding through. It was all very strange, but I know I've used the wrong side. For her hair, I thought using really nice purple tones which were included. I must admit I do quite like the colour scheme here, and I've not used these pens before, so that's a nice little bonus, and they actually blended together quite nicely as well, which I don't always find is the case with water-based markers. It tends not to agree with one another and you ruin the nibs. However, maybe this is because I used the wrong side of the paper, but doing the background, which I decided to have in the blue colours, it was a streaky mess, but never mind, we live and we learn, right? So we have a bit of an intergalactic theme, and I thought adding some stars on there would be great, and thank goodness we'd got a thicker marker to colour in the background, and ta-da, it was done like that. No, not really, it still took a while, but with the magic of editing with air. Anyway, you can kind of see here how these pens were really streaky, and I still kept it all in one direction, or at least as best as I could, but it just looked a bit streaky. Maybe I should loosen up and not worry about these things, but we are where we are. So whilst that was fully drying, I thought, right, let's give our character some really alien looking eyes. So I sort of went for your traditional alien shape eyes, and I really like how bizarre they look. So after the markers had settled, I'd given them a wash of colour, but I still wasn't quite feeling it, so I just let that be. For the skin of this alien girl, I used the yellow Sharpie, which came along, and it was already starting to look weird by this point. But I'm actually quite glad I went with the yellow, because then I didn't have to worry about skin tones or anything, because this box didn't really have any skin tones in there that I could use. The other thing about using the Sharpie was I actually did the initial outlining in the black Sharpie, and that yellow Sharpie just brought it back to life a bit, but that's alright, it's not the end of the world. To add a little bit of tone and definition on her face and her body, I used one of the Artline pens. I'm sorry if I keep referring to them as Ecoline, that's just what I've got in my head at the moment. The Artline pens though, and then just smush that around a little bit with a wet brush. Nothing else added, just a wet brush with water. And I actually really like the green tone that came out. She looks really menacing now. It's a bit of a funny one really, because all of the subscription boxes I've had this month have had pens in, and it's been a bit weird from what I've been normally using media wise, because I've been very watercolour based, as I mentioned on the previous video. And yeah, it's just sort of like, it's sort of spurred me into wanting to play with pens a little bit more. So just keep an eye out for some future videos where I'm doing pens. There's still a couple of watercolour ones left in me, but I think I've got a feel for pens again, which is good. I use the fine pens to just add them details in and really make her eyes look a bit scary and alien-y. And I noticed the pigment in these liner pens was just a little bit darker than the Sharpies, which I don't know. I don't use Sharpies very often, so there's something I learnt from this. For the flying saucer, I went for an orange colour, but it ended up looking a bit more like the t-shirt once I'd blended it in the colours, but never mind, it's done. I quite like it. This is one of my best drawings. Absolutely not. It's just a bit of fun. Since I didn't have a prompt, I don't think I did too bad of a job. It's funny, it's quirky, and it's colourful, and it's using a colour palette I don't normally use. So yeah, I can't grumble at this month's box. I know it's more pens, but I'm a stationery addict. They'll all get used up. And once I get the prompt from UPCRATE, I might revisit this box. Let me know in the comments if you'd like me to do that, and I'll use the right side of the paper. Anyway, as always, thank you for watching. If you've enjoyed this, give me a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe if you haven't. And most importantly, with these weird times at the moment, just stay safe, stay at home, and get crafting and drawing. Why not? Bye everyone.